Lego Movie 2, the second part, in Dolby. I'm so excited for this movie. Again, I've been waiting for about 5 years for this movie since I saw the first one in theaters. So let's go in, and I'm hoping this is as great as I think it's going to be. Here we have it, Lego Movie 2 in Dolby. I really want to do IMAX for this one, but I think that the Dolby would be more worth it since it is an animated movie, and animated movies are typically better with the Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision projection. So I have high hopes for this, so I hope not to be disappointed. So let's go in.
Or someone who would miss you if you were gone. There is a place only you can fill. No one can.
First steps, first birthday, first final.
Alright guys, so I did go see the Lego Movie and the Lego Movie 2 in the Dolby Cinema at AMC Prime. I'll be giving my opinions as always for the Dolby experience right after I'm done with the actual review for this movie itself. But anyways, it's been a long time since I've been to a Thursday showing for a movie. I believe the last one I went to was Smallfoot in November. I could be wrong, but not November, in September. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the last one that I've been to. But again, I've been waiting for this movie for 5 years, and I just couldn't wait any longer to watch this movie. I was just so damn excited for this movie. But anyways, let's get into a little bit of the story details about this movie. This movie picks up just where it left off with the first Lego Movie at the very ending. You know, where the Lego Duplo are invading Bricksburg, and years later, they come back for Lucy and everybody else in this gang. So Emmett goes behind them and, you know, tries to rescue them, and he runs into a minifigure named Rex Dangervest, who will lead him on this adventure, you know, to get his friends back. And if you guys seen my recent video, you guys know how much I just adore these Lego movies. I just adore these movies to death. I absolutely love the first Lego Movie. The first Lego Movie is my favorite animated movie of all time, and I love the Lego Batman movie. And well, I think that the Lego Ninjago movie is just okay. But I really enjoyed the trailers for this movie a lot. But to be honest with you, I just didn't really know how the actual movie itself would go. Because I was still very worried about this movie, mainly because of the director, Mike Mitchell, who, if you look at his directing resume, it's not looking too smooth. Although I think he did direct the first Alvin and Chipmunks movie, which I personally enjoyed, and he did direct Trolls, which is half decent, but I was just worried that he was getting his hands onto this Lego property, and I was just so worried that he was going to ruin it. And I'm gonna just say right off the bat, I will openly admit and completely be honest with you guys, there were certain aspects about this movie that really disappointed me. And well, it disappointed me just a little bit, but you know, I guess that I just had my hopes up too high for this movie, that I almost expected something in the veins of at least the Lego Batman movie, you know, where it's not as great as the Lego Movie, but it's still definitely a great movie. And well, this movie isn't as great as the Lego Movie and the Lego Batman movie, and it definitely does not reach near the levels of the original Lego Movie. I think that what really disappointed me the most here was the first act. I mean, it was good, but it just felt like it was up to a rocky start, where it was enjoyable enough, but there's definitely things I think that they could have tweaked around in the first act that just would have made the first act so much better. You know, as always, it's fun seeing these characters reunite. Of course, Emmett is just as lovable as he was in the first movie, and let's just say that his character goes through a lot in this movie, which I absolutely love. Rex Dangervest was a lot of fun as well, who is also voiced by Chris Pratt, and he definitely does a great job voice acting both of these characters. I mean, one of my favorite things about Chris Pratt is how charismatic he really is, meaning that he could play many different characters. I mean, we've seen him play many different characters, from Star-Lord to Owen in the Jurassic World movies, his character in Parks and Rec, and now 2 different characters in this Lego franchise, and he does a really good job just voicing both these characters who kind of have, but they both have fun personalities, but at the same time they're very different characters, and that's why Chris Pratt is the perfect dude to voice both of these characters, and I love that about him. And he just brings these characters to life so much. And Elizabeth Banks is just really good as Lucy once again. And Tiffany Haddish plays this mysterious Lego princess or whatever. And I thought she was going to be annoying just because Tiffany Haddish is sort of annoying in most movies that she's in. But I really enjoyed Tiffany Haddish in this movie. I thought she was really entertaining. And everyone else, such as Batman, Metalbeard, Benny, Unikitty, all these characters were just so much fun to see back on the big screen. And they all had a reasonable amount of screen time, which I think the screen time that they all had in this movie was perfect. I didn't think that they needed too much screen time, and they just had the perfect screen time. And the originality, the fun is still very much present in this movie. There are bits in this movie that just made me laugh out loud, just extremely hard. And there are some great one-liners in this movie. And there's also a special cameo, which unfortunately I did see a TV commercial spoil that cameo for me. But I hope you guys didn't see that TV commercial, so I'm not going to say who that cameo is, but it's awesome. And I also, what I really love here about this movie is the originality, how original this movie is. It's not a generic sequel, just trying to do the same thing that the first movie did. They actually attempt to go a different direction with the story in this movie, and it just really does end up working. Just like in the first movie, there are bits in this movie that are live action, and these live action storylines connect to the actual animated movie itself. And that's where most of the originality comes from, and definitely where all of the charm comes from. All the charm from this movie comes from. And also a unexpected side note, this movie is sort of a musical, but don't worry, it's not a annoying musical. It definitely has some very good musical numbers. So it's a very good one, I'd say. And, again, I was just a tad mixed with the first act about this movie. I mean, I liked what they did in the second act, but the third act, oh my god, the third act. I absolutely adored the third act to this movie. The third act is more of what I wish the entire movie would have been like. But the third act is actually perfect, and it actually pays off what the last hour of the movie has been building up to. That third act, this movie is just perfect. I really do wish that the rest of the movie was more like that, though. And I will not spoil anything, but there's a certain plot point in this movie that is just a huge reveal. Like, I absolutely loved how they handled it, and it's a huge twist that I never saw coming. And this twist is just absolutely brilliant. It makes sense. The twist doesn't feel forced, or it doesn't feel out of place at all. It actually contributes to the story that was being built up for the first 2 acts. And after you think about it, it actually improves the structure of this movie quite a bit. And that leads into some of the problems that I had with this movie. And most of it has to do with the first act. Now, like I said, about the structure, the movie is set up very well, and it leads into its story perfectly and very quickly as well. But I just wish that the movie just had a stronger structure. It just doesn't have the same strong grip that the first movie had when it came to its structure. I mean, again, the first act was just really kind of wonky. It was really rocky, and it was also kind of hard to get into for the first few minutes of this movie. It just had some odd pacing. And there's also some very odd things in this movie, some very weird things that just kind of left me going like, does that even belong in this movie? Because there are a lot of things in this movie that just feel like they don't belong. Just because this movie is so charming, there's some things that really do not belong in this movie. And there's so many plot holes in this movie. There were so many things that were left unanswered, either because of previous movies or things that happened in this movie. At least the one thing that they do end up explaining is where the Lego Batman movie fits into the timeline. Apparently, it fits in after the attack of Bricksburg happens with the Duplos, and then it just after that, apparently the Lego Batman movie happens, and then after the Lego Batman movie happens, a few years goes by, and then this movie happens. So at least I know where the Lego Batman movie fits in the timeline, but there's a scene in this movie in the very beginning of the movie where Batman's all like, oh well, I'm just lonely, I'm all by myself now, and I was just left in my seat thinking, how about everything that you built up with Robin and Batgirl in your own spin-off movie? What happened to those characters? Are we just going to ignore everything that happened in that movie? And there's just so many other unanswered questions within just this movie itself. But those are the biggest problems I had with this movie. And again, I was just a little bit disappointed with this movie. I don't love this movie as much as I loved the Lego Batman movie and the original Lego movie, but I did really like this movie. So at least there's that. And I would recommend this movie on a full price admission. With that being said, I'm going to give the Lego Movie 2 a B+. As for the Dolby experience, the Dolby Vision projection was absolutely flawless and made the animation look even better than it already looks. It was just bright, it was vivid, it was colorful, the colors popped off right out the screen. So the Dolby Vision is definitely worth it. Although for the Dolby Atmos surround sound, I was a little disappointed. At least for the first two acts, I just didn't feel like it took advantage of the surround sound, of the Dolby surround sound that much. But in the third act, it all paid off because it uses the surround sound so much. It even uses the overhead Dolby Atmos surround sound. So at least there was that. So I don't think that this is a movie that you have to watch in Dolby. I'd say you still have a fun time watching this movie in standard, maybe even IMAX for the louder scenes. But it was a good experience. It wasn't a absolutely amazing experience, but it was definitely a really good experience. So anyways, the Lego Movie 2, have you guys seen it? What did you guys think about it? Tell me in the comment section down below. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. And my next movie day, I don't have any idea what I'm seeing next. I might just rewatch this movie again, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you guys seen this movie, let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about it. And I'll see you guys later.